I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to make $1 million, okay? I'm going to make $1 million trading, and then I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. What is up, guys? Norse Digital Assets coming at you with another video. In this video, we are going to cover Bitcoin and the market as a whole, where I see Bitcoin going, where the correction will be, and where will we ever go below $20,000 again. So we're going to cover all that. So number one, guys, I hope that you did buy in November and December. This is one of the only threads I've ever wrote. I wrote this January 15th. But in November and December, when we were at 16,000 Bitcoin, I was posting the same stuff. The fact that when you look at this thread, I was when I write a thread, I write it because my conviction is very high and I'm very confident of what's going to happen next. I really liked this 5-wave sequence here, this 5-wave movement. I liked the symmetry of it. All the counts before I didn't like, but this was the first one I liked. I never wanted this 5 down deep like that, but it happened. It is what it is. But anyways, my point is, guys, I was posting about the monthly stock RSI down here at the bottom for an very extended period of time. It's going to scoop up. Okay, we were talking about, more importantly, we were talking about the Newpl was in the capitulation zone for a while. Here, we were also talking about this one is very big. And if you didn't buy in November, December, maybe you'll catch the next macro bottom. But like I was saying, when the MVRV Z-score is in the green, is at 0 for an extended period of time like this, every time it ever has been, it ended up being a long run after that was calling the bottom. So we were covering all this at 20,000 Bitcoin. At 16,000 Bitcoin, I was really pushing it out there. But yeah, you gotta buy when that stuff happens. You gotta stop. When you see all those indicators like that I just showed you, you don't think anymore and use your emotion. What do I think is going to happen? Do I think it's going to go to 10,000? Do I think it's going to go to 12,000? Doesn't matter what you think. When you see those indications, pull out your wallet, you pull out your money, and you buy. Moving on to the next topic here, let's move on to the chart. Bitcoin at 28,357 or 28,272. It depends. There's a discrepancy here on the different exchanges. But looking at that here, Bitcoin looks beautiful right now. We had the giant wick below the 20 EMA here on the weekly, and it ended up being the bear trap that I was talking about. You have a launch up. We are on track to see the $100,000 Bitcoin August 1st or 120,000 on September 1st. That's because typically, like what we've seen here on wave 1 and wave 3 is you can kind of come out here and kind of meander sideways, start to go vertical, correct back down, and then final vertical push. You come up, you sit sideways a little bit, you start to go somewhat vertical, have a correction down, and then the final vertical. Okay, wherever that correction might be, that correction could be even higher. But my point is that you're kind of coming out from this line, scooping up towards it, correcting, and then having a final vertical parabolic finish, okay? All right, let me show you something else really cool, real quick. A little drawing I dropped in here. But this has been very accurate in the past. It just happened here when you look at this high here and you look at this swing low here. Swing high, swing low, 1618. Basically, that was the bottom, okay? We're going to be looking to do the exact same thing when we top. So, for example, check this out. This is pretty cool. So, when we come up, that final correction there, that wave 4 down, that wave 4 subwave here, and then the final run, say we go to, this example is going to be 108,000, but the last correction was down in here. Wherever this last correction is going to be, what we're going to do is when we hit this top of wave 5, okay, we're just going to set the fib there. We're going to drag it down, set the one there at the bottom of that, and that is going to show us roughly the bottom of the next bear. Okay, so basically what this would be is if my thesis and my drawings right this whole time, this is going to be a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5, and then you're going to get the bear market. And the bear market, after hitting about $108,000 Bitcoin, $108,000 Bitcoin or so, give or take, wherever that correction is going to be, the 1618, that would mean about $33,000 will be the bottom of that next bear. Now, I haven't seen anyone else show this in a drawing, show this on a video. This is my idea, but it is very accurate. It has been very accurate in the past. I'll also say this. There is some people talking about we may never see 20K Bitcoin again. And if my thesis and my drawing's right and we don't correct deep anytime soon, which I expect shallow pullbacks, then this is why. Because you would go up to 108,000 and the next bottom of the next bear would be 33,000, okay? Instead of 15.5 like we just hit there, the next time the correction would be 33,000, okay? So using this simple technique that almost looks stupid, this is going to give us a great idea of if we get this wave 5 to 100,000 Bitcoin or more, we're going to drop this fib in, and personally, I'm going to be out of the market, not financial advice. I'm going to be out of the market and look to get back in. As we get closer to the 1618, I'll start DCAing in. I'll start scaling in on the 1272. I'll scale in on the 1414. I'll scale into the 1618. Now, this data can change, but this is just giving you an idea of how we're going to try to map where everything's going. Now, let me tell you another thing, guys. The only way to get to this 100,000 that I've been talking about in my main drawing here, the only way to actually get to it, the only way this happens is if most don't think it will. And there's all these bears. There's a majority of people and bears who still think, a lot of people right now, major accounts, they're talking about 40,000 or this here, this area, 48,000, 47,000, you come up there, and then you're going to come back down, and you're not going to get all-time highs until sometime after the halving 2024, 2025. You need a majority to believe that, or you need a majority to be bearish for this to happen. The only way this drawing works the entire time is if most people don't believe it. If everybody I know on Twitter was posting almost the same drawing right now, and everybody was convinced that it's going to happen, guaranteed. And everyone's been convinced in November and in December. If everyone was convinced of that, I'd be concerned and I would probably really need to reevaluate and look into my analysis, okay? For this to happen, this has to catch a majority off guard. There's a lot of people talking trash on Twitter, don't really care. I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to make $1 million, okay? I'm going to make $1 million trading, and then I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. So stick with the channel, subscribe if you're not subscribed, stick with the channel, keep watching, and I'm going to keep throwing in little ideas and little perspectives, because it's always good to have perspectives from multiple people. Another thing that we were talking about through the bottom, through November, through December, was we kept talking about the CBBI. It's now at 23. That's much higher using these 13 indicators. We've always been talking about these indicators. And let me tell you this. I was telling you at the time in November that CBBI, 2, 4, 3, that's usually the bottom. It usually is, and you have to buy it. That was when Bitcoin was at 16,000. We talked about here, and we talked about here. If you didn't buy it, I don't know what to tell you, but that's usually the bottom, and it told you, okay? Now, looking at BTC dominance here, okay, what I do expect to happen is for the dominance to run higher, okay? We are getting, this chart works just like the other charts, but we are getting a massive signal. If this follows through, this is the weekly cross, the weekly golden cross on the Bitcoin dominance, which would mean Bitcoin dominance runs, it can run higher and higher, but eventually when Bitcoin dominance tops and then starts to roll, that's altcoin season, and that would be happening later in the year after Bitcoin tops and prints the X with the Pi cycle top indicator. When Bitcoin prints that red X, that's probably the top of the dominance, and the dominance it'll kind of sit sideways, and then the dominance will start to drop, and that will be altcoin season. There's a lot of people just making up random altcoin seasons that are going to just happen out of thin air lately. I think a lot of that is BS. What's typically happened is like here, for example, once Bitcoin is topping here, and then this is when Bitcoin's topping, this is when it starts to lose dominance, and when that happens, that's the money flowing into altcoin season. I would expect the same thing here for dominance to come up, kind of go sideways, and then eventually, I mean, there's going to be a lot of action up here into later this year, but then eventually, you get my point, it's going to consolidate, start to drop, and that will be the altcoin season. But typically what's been happening here is this weekly cross is pretty rare to be going up, this golden cross. That was in November 2018 the last time, but kind of works the same as normal charts. You come up, you back test it, and you're gone. Okay, you come up right now. Don't know if you're going to backtest or not, but you're getting that cross. Bitcoin dominance should continue to rise. And I'll give you a couple more bonus tips, okay? If you're a new leverage trader and you want to get into some leverage for the first time, you need to just look for a pattern like this on the daily time frame, on the 1 day time frame, okay? You need to look for patterns like this. I will always long these. If you get something like a triple tap or like a double tap and then this here, you need to buy that, okay? Sounds really simple and really stupid, but again here, double tap, okay, double tap, buy that second tap, and it's going to, just that simple idea right there, you put a 5x long on that, you're going to get that 20%. You're going to double your money, okay? If you see something like this on the daily, the catch is they don't come around super often. Like, you got to wait some time. But buying at the end of a bouncing stock RSI, when it's bouncing on zero like that, buying near that end, you're almost certain to just make money over the coming days. It's almost certain if you're watching the market. And when you're in a bullish reversal like we are right now with Bitcoin running from 15,000 up to 28. So watch for that in the future. You know, right now, say curve here, tops here. Say curve tops right here, starts to roll, comes back down. Okay, you bounce here. You see it bounce here. Okay, buy that. Buy that. Okay. That is also, a lot of the time, that's also going to coincide with the 55 EMA, okay? So like this one here. If you're seeing a third bounce on the bottom of the stock RSI, look at 1, 2, 3. You're seeing a third bounce at the bottom of the stock RSI, and it's going at the 55 EMA. Buy that every time, especially right now and over the coming months, okay? Obviously, data comes in, and that's going to change how we're going to play it. You got to be smart and be watching what Bitcoin's doing and make sure that Bitcoin isn't starting like a big correction. Like, if Bitcoin just ran way up and it's floating above its EMAs and it might be due for an ABC, then maybe you don't buy it. Like, you got to factor in other things. But overall, like this right here is going to make you money. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this video. I don't want it to drag on too long. I'm going to cover some altcoins after this. And that's going to be it for this video. Thank you to all the subscribers. Thank you to anyone that actually watched this far. If you watched this far, press 1, 2, 3 below. Anyways, we'll see you in the next video.